Loki has just received a brand new Lady Loki costume in Marvel Rivals, but most people don't realize exactly why Loki transitioned from his male form into a female one. That decision comes directly from Marvel Comics, and the story behind it doesn't just redefine Loki, it proves why Loki may be the most dangerous manipulator in all of Asgardian history, including a secret act from Asgard's distant past that changes how Thor's entire family history is viewed. Today, we're breaking down the comic book origin of Lady Loki, what it adds to Loki's lore, and why this version of the character matters, especially now she's arrived in Marvel Rivals. And trust me, by the end of this, Loki's entire life will look very different. So let's jump into the 2007 run of Thor and see exactly how Lady Loki came to be. First, we need some context for where this story begins. Ragnarok has come to pass. Asgard has been completely destroyed, and the gods have been killed. You might already be familiar with Thor Ragnarok from the MCU, but in Marvel Comics, this was the true end. The cycle has finished. No more rebirth, no Valhalla. At least, that's what everyone believed. After Ragnarok, the surviving souls of the Asgardians, including Thor, were trapped in the void rather than Valhalla. But Odin, anticipating the end, had placed a final failsafe into motion. Odin had originally created Thor's human counterpart, Donald Blake, and had cast a spell that caused Donald Blake to cease to exist. After Ragnarok, that spell was undone. Donald Blake returned, and when he came into contact with Mjolnir, Thor was able to pull himself back from the void and return to Earth. Thor returned alone. No Asgard, no gods, just him. The first thing Thor does is use the Odin Force to recreate Asgard, floating above Broxton, Oklahoma. This is a massive moment in Marvel Comics. Asgard is now physically present on Earth. Humans can see it, governments can interact with it, and Thor quickly learns that this changes everything. But Thor also realizes something else. The souls of the Asgardians have been reincarnated into mortal hosts. Ordinary humans across Earth unknowingly carry dormant Asgardian souls, and it becomes Thor's responsibility to find them and awaken their memories. This is where Lady Loki enters the story. Thor begins restoring the gods. Heimdall is the first to return, quickly followed by Fandral, Volstagg, and Hogun. Eventually, Balder the Brave is restored alongside a large group of Asgardians. As Thor surveys the recently restored Asgardians, he approaches an Asgardian woman. At first, he believes this is Lady Sif, one of the last gods he's been desperately searching for, but he's wrong. This woman is Loki, returned, reborn, and now in a female body. Lady Loki tells Thor that her new form represents a fresh start. No more schemes, no more mischief, just a desire to live and be happy. At first glance, it seems sincere, but that promise will prove to be one of the most important lies Loki has ever told. As Thor continues restoring the Asgardians and desperately searching for Lady Sif, he completely exhausts himself and has to place himself into the Odin sleep, a state that rapidly heals him. Now bear with me for this next section. I promise we will get back to Lady Loki in just a moment. During the Odin sleep, Thor is able to speak with his deceased father Odin and learns the truth about the death of Thor's grandfather, Bor Burison, and Odin's betrayal. Odin explains to Thor that he was born long before life existed on Earth. Against the wishes of his father, Bor Burison, Odin helped create humanity. Bor despised this and sought to curse mortals with every suffering his power could bring. During a later war with the Frost Giants, Bor is confronted by a mysterious and incredibly powerful sorcerer. Odin arrives seconds too late to see Bor transformed into living snow, killing him once and for all. With his final breath, Bor begs Odin to find another sorcerer to undo the spell and restore him. Odin refuses. Instead, he mourns Bor, ascends the throne to the king of Asgard, and allows Earth to become what he always envisioned. But Bor's voice continues to haunt him, slowly driving him toward madness. After Thor is born, Bor's spirit finally confronts Odin directly. Bor promises Odin peace, but only under one condition. If Odin ever kills another father, he must take that father's child into his home and raise him as his own. And Odin must never forget that treason runs in his blood, and one day his own son will betray him, just as he had betrayed Bor. Not long after, Asgard goes to war with the Frost Giants once more. Odin kills King Laufey, ruler of Jotunheim. In the aftermath, a young frost giant weeps over his father's body. That child is Loki. When Loki picks up a sword and attempts to strike Odin, Odin sees loyalty, courage, and strength, and instead of killing the child, he adopts him, fulfilling Bor's condition. After this, Bor's voice finally falls silent. After learning the truth about the death of his grandfather, Thor awakens from the Odin sleep. Everything Thor learned during the Odin sleep, the tragedy of Bor, the haunting of Odin, and the adoption of Loki, is true. But it is not the full truth, because later in this run, we learn that none of it happened naturally. In the present day, Lady Loki seeks out Hela, the goddess of death. Lady Loki asks for something no one else could grant, to send her spirit backwards through time while her current mortal body is preserved. Lady Loki asks Hela to watch over the body she inhabits while she returns to the past in her original form. Hela agrees, and with that, Loki steps into history. Loki arrives during the ancient war between the Asgardians and the Frost Giants, at the exact moment Thor discussed with Odin during the Odin sleep. Loki approaches a group of Frost Giants, who initially refuse to acknowledge him, until they sense the blood of Jotunheim running through his veins. Only then do they listen. Loki manipulates them, turning them against Bor, luring the Allfather away from the battlefield. This isolation gives Loki his opening. Concealing his identity, Loki confronts Bor directly. This is the truth Odin never knew. The mysterious and powerful sorcerer who transformed Bor into living snow was Loki himself. Loki watches as Bor is left to die, fully aware of what Odin will do next. Loki already knows Odin will choose the throne over his father, and he lets it happen. Loki remains in the past, watching from a distance as Odin arrives moments too late and witnesses Bor's death. Odin mourns, ascends the throne, and allows Earth to flourish, exactly as Loki anticipated. But Loki does not stop there. Years later, after Thor is born and Odin is weakened by guilt, Loki returns. This time not in body, but in voice, disguising himself as the spirit of Bor. Loki speaks directly to Odin, repeating the prophecy Thor recently heard about during the Odin sleep. Loki tells Odin that peace will only come if he kills another father, takes the father's child as his own, and remembers that treason runs in his blood. Odin believes he is being haunted. In truth, he is being guided. Loki's manipulation reaches its final stage during the war with the Frost Giants. Loki approaches a young Frost Giant child, himself. Loki promises the child unimaginable power, the power of the gods, if he ensures that his parents are led to their deaths. Loki does not force the child, he persuades him. He plants the idea and allows ambition to do the rest. The young child Loki then manipulates King Laufey, provoking him into war with Asgard, calling him a coward for hesitating. Laufey takes the bait, exactly as Loki intends. As the battle unfolds, Loki watches from afar alongside his younger self. Odin strikes down Laufey, and as Odin stands over Laufey's body, the young Loki performs exactly as instructed. The young Loki cries, showing loyalty and grief. Then he picks up a sword, showing rage and courage. Every emotion is calculated, every action rehearsed. This exact moment has been coached by Loki. Odin sees strength, honor, and potential, and Odin makes the decision to adopt him. The prophecy is fulfilled, but Loki isn't finished. After Odin leaves the battlefield with the child, Loki returns alone. He listens as Laufey struggles in his final moments. Then Loki personally kills him, not out of necessity, but satisfaction. Well, that was satisfying, Loki says as he walks away. Loki returns to the present and resumes her Lady Loki form. Hela reveals why Loki's new female form feels so familiar. The mortal vessel Loki inhabits was never meant for her. It was meant for Lady Sif. Lady Sif's soul remains trapped inside a dying mortal body, deliberately abandoned by Loki to claim this form for herself. Lady Loki was not a rebirth, it was theft. There is so much more to Lady Loki's story: her manipulation of Balder the Brave, her work alongside Doctor Doom, her impersonation of the Scarlet Witch, and the eventual transition into Kid Loki. I could talk about this all day, but for now, we will leave it there. Her origin alone reshapes everything we knew about Loki. This isn't just a costume, it's the culmination of centuries of manipulation. And now, Lady Loki has arrived in Marvel Rivals. So let me know in the comments below, are you going to be rocking the new Lady Loki costume in Marvel Rivals? And if you're still craving more Marvel Rivals content, then make sure to check out my Marvel Rivals playlists, or check out the rest of my channel where I upload content just like this every single week. But for the meantime, peace, peace, peace!